In today's video, I'll be going over how I was able to personally catch 2 3 risk reward trades in under 2 hours, trading just purely in New York session on ES on May 25th or 27th, 2025. And before I get into the video, I do want to preface real quick that if you are in the paid student Discord chat, you will see me post my trade ideas pretty often, especially during New York sessions, so you guys can catch some trades for me or with me. But nonetheless, I'm gonna show you guys real quick trade executions before I even get into the trades themselves, because I think transparency is very key in this industry where there's full of people that are just like not legit and they're just fully marketers. I won't specify specific names in this video because that's not the point of today's video. I'm here to educate you guys on how to trade properly and profitably. So here's my executions. I posted this along inside my Discord server as well. If you're not in there, it's completely free. It's a free Discord server. Come here, take some knowledge out of it complete for free. But again, here is the trade executions right here of proof on Project X of my executions for this long here. And then for this long here, and you can check the timeline and, you know, exit price and everything. Here's a screenshot of my long position here. I know it's not the clearest screenshot here is because I imported it into TradingView, so I don't have to switch screens and browsers and make everything streamlined into just recording this screen here in TradingView. But there it is, my entry time, my exit time, entry price, exit price, obviously going long on ES. There's not much really here to show you guys, man. You can just check the time for yourself, timestamps, whatever. Here's the execution on this first long here. And after showing the proof there, I'm gonna just group these together, and I'll probably just move them to the side, honestly, actually, matter of fact, for this trade recap. And I'm gonna go in replay mode real quick here, so we can just focus on price action here. And matter of fact, this kind of looks kind of ugly, I'm not gonna lie, with replay mode. Okay, so what am I gonna do? Is there a way to get rid of this replay watermark in the back? Okay, nice. I figured out how to get rid of the watermark in the background for replay mode so it doesn't get in the way for today's trade recap. I'll move these just to the side, but just want you guys quick execution proof that I'm actually taking all these trades that I'm literally posting to the group and such, since people, obviously, you want credibility in the space, and I feel like there's just too many scammers in the trading industry, and it's all marketers, and they don't trade for real, and it is quite annoying to see, unfortunately, that people are falling for them. But you know, it is what it is, and it's all good. Here is also a screenshot from, I believe this is the course members only chat, if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah, this is a course members only chat. So again, paid students to get access to this. I'm sharing my trade ideas all the time, drawing liquidity, things like that. And of course, you're taking these trades if you want. If you like the setup, you take them. You know, this is not like a signal service. This is more so you make your own decision based on my personal bias I'm giving to you. So again, I said here, if you want to wait for a stop under internal continuation, I'll look for another long here, right? Because I already took the impulse model here. But essentially saying look for a stop under internal continuation here. And this is what we got here. We got a stop under setup here. And I'm saying this is pro trend. We're extremely bullish. Mitigate the 1 hour sell to buy. And a major SMT with NQ. So that's up to you how you want to take that information at will in my Discord server. But I'm going to put that to the side here. And then here is a P&L screenshot real quick of literally just me showing my P&L across all my fund accounts. So it's up quite a bit on this day, copy trading across all my funded accounts on different prop firms as well. And of course on my personal, it was an even bigger day. So there's that right there as proof. And we'll just go straight into the trade recap. And the reason why I'm showing this, probably just for this video, is because there's people in the comments asking for proof executions, and they said it will boost my YouTube channel or help out the channel to get more people just watching my content and learning the right things instead of getting distracted or swayed into things that are not true or not real, and just basically bad content online on trading, right? So you want to learn the right content, learn from someone who's actually profitable and not from fraud. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm gonna show you guys real quick. This is literally my bias going to this day. We had right here, we had the 1 hour POI right here, right? This is the 1 hour sell to buy that marked out right here. And you know what? I'm just gonna move this here. It's kind of annoying. We have 1 hour sell to buy here, and we did have news. Where's this? Here's a picture. We had news, unless this was another day. This might have been another day. Honestly, do not remember because I'm trying to basically do several trade recaps in a single day. Was this this day? This might have been, because that's a big candle here. That might have been this news. I'll have to double check later, but we did have very bullish news that came out. We had 98 consumer confidence, and previously it was like 87, 80, and it was forecasted to be 85, I believe. You guys can check all this on forexfactory.com if you're interested or intrigued. But essentially, with fundamental news on our side, looking for longs, even up here in premium, is completely safe. You're taught from a lot of people to only look for longs and discount, look for shorts and premium. But that's not completely true, because if you're shorting here, you're just going to take a loss here, right? The probabilities of every single setup and context in the market is completely different. Meaning, typically, yes, shorting in premium is what you want, but with the stop hunter setup, we take advantage of people that are shorting in premium and taking their stop losses. That's basically the gist of why I called it the stop hunter setup, and you learn everything within the course modules. But here, very straightforward trade. I know that was a kind of a rant early on for like 5 minutes of the video, but we tapped into 1 hour POI. We had an impulsive price delivery here towards our POI. So I took my first entry, I believe, on this candle here, or was it this candle? It was one of these two candles. This was like 2 days ago, but you guys can check the executions chart to see the most exact candle I took an entry on. Basically, I got in a little bit late, right? Originally, this is an impulse model, not an A+ impulse model, but this is a pretty solid, I'd say A impulse model. We did have two counter trend candles here, two bullish candles. Unfortunately, if this was all bearish, this would be A+ impulse model, but this was somewhat impulse, and you can see the ideal entry would have been here with the impulse model, and obviously you could target weak highs if you want, whatever, and that would have been like 7R. But I entered my first position basically a little late, but it's all good as long as your drawing liquidity is good and you're still getting a solid risk reward ratio. It doesn't matter specifically in a sense on what entry model you're using. Don't take that out of context, obviously. But again, context is most important and direction is most important. So if you can know those two things in the market, you can find your way to find entries. And as long as, again, how you manage your entries and trade and understand how probabilities work, you should be good. So I then later scaled in on this OB entry model here because that did give us inform. Now, when you scale in, you don't want to double your risk, right? I teach you guys a very good scaling strategy method in the course or in the advanced course with the private mentorship students as well. You don't want to be doubling your risk when you're scaling in. So what do? So the only way to really prevent that is you either move your first position to break even. If you're trading Forex, if you're trading futures, it's all in one position. So you would have to move essentially your stop loss tighter. So let's say I scale full position here and I scale another full position here. Now my risk reward, instead of 3 risk reward, this is basically a 6 risk reward trade, right? In a sense. Now, with a 6 risk reward trade, I want to still risk only -1R on the risk. Now, how do I do that? Instead of having my stop loss originally, it was down here when I entered my first position. Obviously, you have to move your stop loss to a point where you can roughly estimate that your risk will be still around 1 risk reward. It doesn't have to be entirely perfect. It just has to be somewhere that is around 1 risk reward if you do lose. And the number 2 thing is it has to be a realistic stop loss. You can't be doing this, right? Like you're mostly going to stop out 9 out of 10 times doing a stop loss like this. This doesn't make any sense. You need to still have a sensible and logical place to put your stop loss. And right below the PY or OB, giving you some wiggle room is a very, very sensible and logical place to put your stop loss. So that was the trade there. Here's it more clearly without the indicators. For this trade here, I think this should have been the 1 day with news because I did not hold until the week high, even though my system teaches me, or based on my data from my backend system, I'm supposed to be holding this entire trade for this week high for a risk reward. But again, I didn't. So I just TP'd here for a conservative TP. Aggressive would be here. Very aggressive would be that basically external high or even past that even because this is a pro trend liquidity sweep. So hopefully that makes sense there. And did we have a sweep here of a session? I thought we did. Oh, we did. Okay, sorry. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Forgot to mention this. We had London session sweep here as well as Confluence. So session sweeps also will add Confluence to a slightly higher win rate of your system. So we did have that as well as Confluence. I'm going to hide my indicator there now. And essentially, since I missed out on the move, or basically missed out on a lot of profit here, I was still looking for longs. And that's where I literally told the Discord here. If you want to look where is it? Wait for a stop hunter internal continuation, right? If you miss the move and you're not holding this full TP till the week high, you are looking for a stop hunter internal continuation. And this is just a patience game, man. In trading, majority of times, we're not even inside a trade. We're just waiting for our entry. And so if we're waiting for our entry most times, you guys should not be taking random trades in the middle before your entry. You should be waiting for your entry model and your model and then execute and then just let it run, or however you want to manage your trades, or usually however you manage your trades, right? In this case, I manage it based on my personal system. I backtested and it works the best based on optimization for my journaling. But here's a stop hunter setup, and I took it off instead of the initial entry for stop hunter, which is a little bit better. I took it off this OB entry model as confirmation. You can take an IFEG as confirmation, which we have that here if you want to. But for me personally, I was looking just for OB entry model here, and we got that. So it was great. Adds a little bit more confluence to the trade since I'm waiting for a little bit more confirmation instead of just taking the typical stop hunter where I just market execute majority times. Sometimes we do a limit right below the swing high or low, their internal high or low, but most times, it is just a purely market execution. So you can see I got literally no drawdown at all in this trade here. And again, check the screenshots, man, of my executions. I literally entered at this exact price and literally not a single tick of drawdown. Not a single tick. You can see whenever you have equal price points, you will 99% of the times get filled in futures unless there's no volatility or volume. Then you won't get filled, right? But majority of times, equal highs or lows, equal price points, you will get filled in futures. In Forex, you likely will not due to spread. So that's the benefit of futures. You get no spread with your entries and exits. So this was a 3 risk reward trade here. I don't think I managed to break even. I might have managed. You guys have to check the Discord. That's why I joined free Discord or join the paid group. You guys will be able to see how I exactly manage this trade. I don't remember exactly. This was from 2 days ago, and I've taken a lot of trades since. But 50% break-even rule did hit here if you did use that. And, my position, because of how good my entry here was, it held. Never hit my break-even. And just went straight to TP right after. Not a problem. This was a little bit long of a trade hold. But look at the time, guys. Right, we open here. We're still within kill zone here, but we're starting to exit and leave kill zone timing. So it makes sense. We get less volatility. And after this trade, I was done for a day. Why? Because I don't expect or anticipate any other further good A+ setups. You really want to be focusing on just taking A+ or A setups. You try to really want to avoid taking B setups unless you are not entirely sure on the setup and you are leaning more towards A or A+. Then sure. Again, I have a checklist for A+ setups if you want. Just check the course PDF and such, should be in there. But if you go in the 1 hour, this is a very obvious uptrend. Like if you go in the 1 hour, this is super obvious, right? Extremely obvious. We're just having higher lows, higher highs. That's all it is. It's just on a lower time frame. Since we're entering, there's going to be a lot more noise. Hence, some people might even look for shorts here, which is just a bad idea to me because you're just counter trending. We have more confluence also of trendline liquidity, which I marked out ahead of time right here. So you really don't want to be shorting any of this right here. Like you don't want to be taking this POI here, preferably, right? Unless we are in high time frame supply that is actually valid. If it's not and doesn't meet my criteria of a good POI, you don't want to be taking that no matter what. So again, people that are basically spam entering or using bots to enter or trades, they're just pattern trading. That's why pattern trading, the odds of success in your trading of just pattern trading is very low. It's extremely difficult to actually become profitable consistently over the long run. You can be profitable for a week, for a month, but for like a year straight, it's going to be very hard if you're just going to be pattern trading. And what I mean by pattern trading is literally any entry model, any type of confirmation. If you're pattern trading, you're no different than literally a lagging indicator. You're not, because you don't have any there's no predictive power in a sense with just pattern trading. I mean, there's so many entry models everywhere on the chart. If you're just shorting here, shorting here, shorting here, shorting here, shorting here, look how many times you've lost. You lost, depending on how much you're risking on your account too. This is a lot. This is like 5 losses in a row, which I rarely take, right, with my system. And again, just all completely depends on your win rate. If your win rate is low, 5 losses in a row is normal. If your win rate is quite high like mine, it's not normal. So anyway, here is basically the trade here. There's not much to else. I basically commented real quick that this is a lower probability setups if you're taking reversals here, because it's a pro trend, like I said, break, sweep, break, pressure, and you'd be going against the overall high time frame trend, which I typically use 1 hour, 4 hour, and 30 minutes as my high time frame. I don't really go into daily ever because my daily bias indicator does daily bias for me, and it marks out the previous day high and low. So I don't really need to go into daily personally manually. You can if you don't have an indicator or anything like that, and it's better to wait for more manipulation prior to your short. But of course, we just continued higher. And again, I was off the charts knowing that if prices wants to continue higher here, there's not really a setup I could take. At this point, once we do take out this external swing high, I'm not too confident in taking much further continuations in terms of that, whether that's an internal OB continuation model or that is stop hunter setup to continue to the upside, just because we are too far up in premium, right? This is in premium of the leg from this leg to this leg, or these two swing points. But once you really reach the objective of price, like maybe a little bit above with one manipulation or two, it's just not high probability to continuously look for longs all the way up here in premium. It just doesn't fit my plan. It worked here, right? But you want to see how often does this work over the long run, and I'll tell you right now, over the long run, it won't work that well. It will not work that well, because what happens if you tend to, at some point, maybe 1 or 2 manipulations, we will get a massive move down in terms of a short. So you don't want to also be caught up in a dump like that, trying to long up there. So hopefully this trade recap makes sense. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This is a very straightforward trade recap. There's not much really to cover here. Very basic strategy, very straightforward, simple. It's just using draw and liquidity, and it's entering trades and using my entry models towards that draw and liquidity. And I'll see you guys in the free Discord. If you haven't, I'm gonna post this to the free Discord members basically ahead of time, so you guys can just watch it and learn from it before everyone else on YouTube sees this video. So I'll see you guys in the next one.